there seems to continue to be delay at the very beginning of each video. Now, I'm not sure if this is Vimeo.com/record challenge, or if this is a Wi-Fi issue on my end, a hardware issue on the part of my computer. Don't know. But this video, getting going with this video today, I still have my same outfit. That's by design. Every time I do this video, I almost picked a different shirt today because I thought, maybe I don't need to do the same outfit every time. I'm going to keep doing the outfit at least for the foreseeable future. I'll decide later because it might not, the reason why I'm doing it might not actually make sense in hindsight. So we will see about that. This video I'm hoping is going to be less technical than some previous videos I've done, where even like the first video I ever did was explaining how I'm setting up the Vimeo account, the Google account with the external email, such as an Outlook. This video is coming at a time where I had a phone call, and the way I've been describing some phone calls when I'm discussing different projects I'm involved in is that whether I'm very frustrated or whether I'm very excited, I describe my conversation style. I always describe it at the end of the call, and it'll be clear why, I think, in a few minutes. But sometimes I kind of hedge the conversation before I get into it, that if I'm, irregardless of whether I'm frustrated about something or very excited about it, once I, from visual perspective, once I turn on the faucet and start talking about those frustrations or talking about those excitements, I personally find it a challenge, or I don't know yet where the off button is. So if I'm frustrated, I'll talk about the frustrations. Tentative to use the word ad nauseum, but it seems to be a pretty good word. Talk about those frustrations ad nauseum. Or if it's something exciting I'm talking about, I'll talk about the excitements ad nauseum for equal amount. So this is something I'm recognizing about myself. I don't know if this is unique to me. I mean, I don't think even these videos, I think I've rarely done the, hey, let me know in the comments of where you fall on this scale. Is it, you could talk about your frustrations for very long and your excitements for very little? Is it vice versa? Is it the same amount? I think for me, I thought it used to be I could only talk about frustrations for a long time and excitements for less. But I think now it seems, you see me, I'm trying to pull down the frustration. It might be the same level of frustration, but I'm trying and get an awareness around this. It seems like I'm able to talk about frustrations for just as long as I'm able to talk about excitements, which, when I think back to it, is from personal experience, it's intriguing because when I was younger, as a communication coach, public speaking coach, stage presence coach, the title of the type of coach I was a little bit unclear. I think in hindsight it was really less about being a public speaking coach and less about being a communication coach, and it was more about being a presence coach. So less about the words you're saying or the content and how it's organized, and more so how your presence makes people feel when you're discussing any topic. So let's just say presence coach. When I used to be a presence coach, it became very clear early on that a lot of people can the word we would use is rant. A lot of people can rant for a very long time, but if they try to talk about something they're excited about, they struggle to do it for equally as long. I.e., said differently, it's easier to talk about your frustrations at length than to talk about your excitements at length. And I've always, since that point, I've held that to be true. I'm finding for myself, it seems like I'm increasing the ability in which I can talk about my excitements. I increase my ability. I can increase the length of time in which I can stay excited about something I'm talking about. Now, in terms of strengths and weaknesses, pros and cons, I'm sure there's some strength in there, there's some weakness in there, there's some pro in there, some con in there. I say all this, and I'm about 4 to 5, I think I just hit the 5 minute mark, I'm 5 minutes in. And I brought that up because I felt almost a pull to do this video, because I had a conversation which took going in. It was a conversation that I proposed. It wasn't someone reaching out to me in this case and saying, "Hey, I want to talk about X, Y, Z." It was actually me reaching out, following up. We had some scheduling conflicts, and I ended up calling. We missed each other one more time, and then they called me, missed me, and then we agreed, "Hey, just call me later in the day, and we'll pick up." So we ended up getting the phone call, and going into the phone call, I even sent a text, "Hey, calling, must keep this short," and I said something else. The call went 45 minutes, and I was optimistic it would be 15 minutes or less, and even in the first 7 to 8 minutes, it seemed like it was possible that was going to happen, to stay in that sort of internal promise, internal commitment to be like, "Okay, we're going to keep this short." What happened on this call, interestingly, is I think part of me wants these calls to be a dialogue. However, if I get asked about a frustration, or, well, it's not like you're getting asked about a frustration. You're getting asked about A, B, or C topic, and it's either a frustration or a point of excitement. I guess theoretically, there's probably an opportunity to weave in some stoicism where you don't actually view it as frustration and you don't view it as excitement. You kind of just view it as this is. I'm not going to attach a label to one or the other. That being said, not currently a philosopher. So usually it's these one or two categories. It's I'm really frustrated about this thing, and I talk about it at length, 45 minutes, roughly. It's a rough amount of how long the call was. Or I talk about my excitements at length for 45 minutes. The feedback I've been getting, this call was a excitement call. The feedback I've been getting is like, I'm excited. Like, please tell me more. And as much as that made me, it makes you feel good when people are interested in what you are interested in. There's kind of that shared camaraderie, rapport, bond that comes with that. At the same time, I thought, you know what? I've been thinking a lot about, with the project I'm working on, I forget if I said it in a real early video, the project is a business. I might have withheld that information in the earlier video. The project is a business. I'm calling it a project largely because there was an article or a video that I had read or watched that I thought had a very interesting way of looking at business building and businesses. That, yes, it's called a business. Legally speaking, financially speaking, it's called a business. However, as the owner of the business, to view it as a project and to even refer to it as a project, because that will make it easier to view it as a disposable asset. Maybe a better way to say it, it'll make it easier to view a project as a disposable, not asset, a disposable liability. Because if it's not generating, I'm going to use cash flow as one example. Cash flow is not the only reason to have a business. It's one of the most popular reasons, I would imagine, but I think there's different ways to think about the purpose of a business, and what your acquisition strategy is, or your added service, value-added service, payment structure, models, things like that. So, but just let's take cash flow as one of them. By viewing it personally as a project and not a business, ideally, this article that I read or this video that I watched was alluding to, it's easier to detach. And if it's not going the direction it needs to go in, cut the business off. Stop the business. Stop the business sounds much more aggressive than, I stopped the project. I cut off the project. I paused the project. So, as I'm referencing project, I am, for the most part, referencing a business. It's been incorporated in the state of Delaware through Stripe Atlas. I wonder if that's too much information. Probably not. I mean, I'm doing this this channel under the guise of a personable brand, elements of a personal brand, i.e. a human talking to you, as opposed to a non-human video, an AI video. I'm sure the AI videos are going to get better. Actually, I am sure they have gotten better, but I still think there's probably still a little bit of room left to stay recording the videos yourself and talking on camera yourself. So this channel is an element of that, and at a point I wanted to expand on before, but feeling a lot of directions come up for this video. The 45-minute call that I was really optimistic was going to be under 15 based on just some things I was taking care of unrelated to the call, getting back to that. I found that the person on the other end seemed genuinely excited as well. It didn't seem like I was boring them. I think a part of that goes back to my presence coaching, is that I do, more often than not, have the ability to get people excited about things, even if I feel like I'm talking about that excitement ad nauseum. Now, I'm sure there's a carrying capacity where that breaks. I think when I was younger, I think I would break through that capacity sometimes, because I would talk about it, let's say 45 minutes. For all I know, maybe if I hit an hour, 5 minutes, maybe that's the breaking point for the person on the other end, or the party, the listening party on the other end, to go from excited to bored, or excited to feigning interest. But for the 45 minutes, the energy was quite high. We also learned a few things about each other, or I guess learned a few things or reminded about each other, just different types of careers we've had and roles we've been in, and how the project I'm working on there could be an opportunity for us to have a meeting of the minds, so to speak. So that phone call prompted me to do this video now and not wait till later in the day. Try to capitalize on that sort of rollover of energy, that snowball effect of energy that came off of this call. I can even tell on this call right now, I'm higher energy than I was on the one of the previous videos I did. Granted, that video that I was doing the other day was when it was dark out. It was when it was at night, so I think I was naturally talking at a lower level to not to not wake up everyone in the house. I have a tendency to talk quite loud on video calls and video recording. Guilty as charged. I saw the video glitch out there as well, so we'll see about that later. This video, as of now, is at least 15 minutes in. We're pushing towards the 16th minute right now. The range is want to do bare minimum 16 minutes, 25 seconds, and then 18 minutes is also just a simpler number to remember. It's under 20 minutes, but it's not quite 20 minutes. So basically, if I commit to doing 20-minute videos, it started off as the idea of doing it once a day, and being able to get to the top. I forget if it's like top 10% or top 1%, which is quite a big difference. In that skill, if you do the skill 20 minutes a day for 365 days in a row. However, every day in a row, it seems like that's not in the cards. So there's another strategy, framework, guideline that comes from, I think largely it comes from fitness, but also habits. So think of like a James Clear type of atomic habits. That's probably not that dissimilar from habits that are useful in fitness, in reaching your fitness goals. And it was losing my train of thought again. It happened twice in this video. It's happened before in past videos, but it's happening quite. It feels severe. It feels like it's happening quite severely. But I'm actually almost at the video length, the required video length that I need for this one. So I might be able to just go with what I got for this video. And in, I think the first or second video, I talked about, should I do the videos and not watch them for a long time, and then just kind of, when I publish them, let other people decide if they're good or not, or let other people decide their take, their thoughts, their beliefs on it. I do think though that after I upload this, I think it makes sense to rewatch it for 18 minutes right before I do the next video. And the reason why is that this video today is coming off of a 45-minute call that was not recorded. If I don't have that type of warm-up for the energy, what's another way I can warm up? And it wouldn't be warming up speaking the way the phone call was, but it'd be warming up my brain and the ideas that I had from a previous video, in this case, the most previous video, and then I can decide in those 18 minutes which one I want to start with for the next video. So maybe it's a way to systematically kind of build a warm-up, build inspiration, and maybe it's less about 18 minutes a day and it's more about 36 minutes a day at least, because 18 minutes of rewatching the previous and 18 minutes of doing the next. And then I'm sure there's going to be some time, because there is, when you sign into Vimeo, you sign into Google, sign into Vimeo, set up your computer, maybe even if it's 5 minutes, but it might take at least 40 minutes a day. And I remembered the second thought I lost track of before, 40 minutes a day and never skipping 2 days in a row. So that either comes from Atomic Habits, James Clear, or it comes from someone else that he took it from. But it was basically building a habit. Perfect world, you do it every day, but we're not in a perfect world. What's a way you can still build the habit in a really strong way that accounts for real life, real responsibilities, and real ABC, insert word. And I'm assuming, because this idea is pretty prevalent across these thought leaders, that there's some data to support this, some data or science to support this. I talked about this in the previous video. If you commit to doing something 18 minutes a day for the month, so let's just take a 30-day month, but never skip 2 days in a row, if you skip one day, no problem. It happens, you had other things to do, things got in the way. Tentative to use things got in the way. I think there's a better way to say that. You allowed things to get in the way, or you chose to prioritize something else that day. If you never skip 2 days in a row over a 30-day month, I think mathematically that would just be 30 divided by 2, right? Which is 15 days of that skill. At 18 minutes, we round that up to 20. 20 minutes times 15. It's always harder to do math when you're on a video. 20 times 15, 20 times 10 is 200, plus another 100, so 300. That's 300 minutes of skill building in a month, spread out over the course of 30 days. So that's at minimum every other day. But I think the reality of why that don't never skip 2 day rule is good is there's going to be spurts where you're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days in a row. But then you still, if you miss that 11th day, you never miss the 12th day. And then you're back. So now it seems to be a strong way to do it, but more importantly than strong, it seems like a simple way to do it. A repeatable process to do that accounts for everyday life, real responsibilities, real goals, priorities. I mean, because I have these goals around the project, but I also have goals just in my personal life, in my relationships, and how I'm networking, getting out, and actually not just networking online, like actually getting out and networking, going to events and things like that. So I do have, and those goals tangentially will be related to the project and business, because it's your network is your net worth, for lack of better words. So it could be a connection for a supplier partner, a connection for a customer, a connection for a referral partner who recommends your service ahead of everyone else's similar service because of the relationship you have with them. I'm sure there's a million reasons. So I'm going to wrap this video now. I'm at the past 19 minutes. I'm pushing the 20-minute mark. We got it done today. I think with the energy today, I think it's not out of reason. It's not out of reason. It's within reason that I can rewatch this video today, which is coming out to about 20 minutes. Spend 20 minutes rewatching, and then record another at least 16-minute, 25-second video but probably more like 18 minutes or maybe 20 minutes. Let's say 20 and 20. It's not within reason. It's not out of reason. It's within reason to invest another 40 minutes, 2 20-minute spurts back to back later in the day, and see if maybe doing 2 videos a day is a way to kind of catalyze a back-to-back-to-back day streak. Even though, like I said, I don't have to do that, because if I never skip 2 days over the course of 30 days, I'll still get 15 days, 18 minutes is roughly 300 minutes of skill building. So that's still actually quite, it's quite good. I would suspect. So, all right. So we got this video done, and yeah, we're just gonna keep rocking.